And I remember I think I was 35 years old. I'm now 40. And my wife had found, I think it was 35 or 33. My wife had found my sister, my biological sister, on Facebook. She was underage. She reached out to her. I always knew how to get a hold of my biological father because me and my cousin, funny story, my cousin Carlos, his mom and my mom are sisters, and his
Mhm.
dad and my dad are cousins. So two sisters
Mm.
walking through the park, see two cousins hanging out, and the rest is history. His dad has been in his life since day one. So if I ever wanted to reach out to my dad, or the other way around, I could always say, "Hey, Carlos, can you ask your dad where so and so's at?" And he could do that. Well, at this point, I had his phone number, and I remember sending him a text message. Hey, this is Junior Estrada. Obviously, he'll know who that is. I found so and so on Facebook, my sister, but because she's underage, I just want to make sure you're cool that I reach out to her. I just wanted to be safe just because she was underage, and even though she's my sister, I don't want any problems. He immediately said, "Yeah, yeah, no problem." Blah blah blah. Long story short, we got to meet me, her, and my other sister. So I got to meet one of my brothers and two of my sisters. I have another brother I haven't met yet. And that same year that I got to link up through Facebook and whatnot, he gave me a call on my birthday. And he calls me, and I see his name, and I have his name saved as his first name. I'm like, that's weird. I was like, okay, someone died. What's going on? I remember rejecting it and just letting it go to voicemail. I checked my voicemail, and my voicemail went something like this. It was in Spanish. She's like, hey, I was just calling to say happy birthday.
Mm.
And as I was driving, I remember that I broke down, man. I
Mm.
pulled over, I broke down, I started crying, and I started getting mad at myself, like, why am I crying? Like, why do I care so much? And it was almost like what I had wanted 33, 34 years of my life, or as long as I have conscious of it, I never got. And I never knew that I missed that. Because even growing up, I was like, I honestly never, maybe once or twice, I had a little situation where it bothered me. It was junior high. I'm lying to you. High school, I questioned about it. And then one more time after that, I let it go. So I never paid attention. I figured, I wasn't the only kid without a dad. I would be fine. We'll move on. But when he called me, I never realized that had avoided me. And
Mm.
he's never asked for forgiveness, and maybe may not feel like he needs to ask for forgiveness. I'm sure he has his side of the story as well between him and my mom. I've forgiven him regardless. And I didn't forgive him for him. I forgave him for me.
Yeah.
Unlike you don't have that closure. And I don't know if me and him will ever meet again face to face and have the conversation, but I know that the possibilities are still there. So my question is for you, your father who's resting in peace, he's no longer able to speak to you and maybe say some words to you. But if you had an opportunity to say something to him, what would that be?
I would say thank you. You know, the fact that you're raising someone else's kid, that you're feeding someone else's kid,
Mm.
that you're sacrificing yourself for this person, I I just want to say thank you. Thank you for just putting up with me, for all the things that I now I'm just so blessed, and I think that, yeah, you're right. When you said about the feeling of the void, but at the same time, I think, like, with my dad, the one thing that I could see was, I mean, his love for for my mom. He
Mm.
really loved my mom. He really, even when she was sick, he would have to, like, carry her to the restroom. Just the extra things he had to do for her.
Wow.
So I'm just so grateful, like, and that's just my personality. Like, some people, man, they they live with that bitterness the rest of their lives, but I just can't, man. It's just not me. That's just, people who know me, know me well. I'm easygoing. I laugh a lot. I make people laugh. So for me to be, like, holding on to something and saying, like, I can never, I know cats who, like, I remember one guy I met, we were talking, and he's like, I'll never forgive my father, never. And he never told me what he'd done. And he's like, nah, I'll never forgive my father. And I'm thinking, you can hold on to that bitterness, but it's not going to hurt him. His life is
Mm.
going to be, he's not going to be like, oh, I can't live my life because someone else hates me. Nah, like, but I just feel like, for me, I have to have inner peace by just, like, hey, he worked on his health, on himself, and he did what he could with what little information he had. I just look at with me and my kids, like it's just a reminder. It's like a warning sign. Like when you're driving on the car
Mm.
and you see like bridges down or potholes, or and you are aware of what's next, what's coming. So for with me and my boys, I constantly keep that in front of me, like, okay, I know what my dad would do, but that's not what I want to do. You know?
Sometimes the experience that maybe you and I went through gives us an opportunity to not allow our children to go through that experience and then
Mhm.
experience something beautiful. Somebody
Yeah.
really close to me once, she was abused sexually, stated, I was abused sexually, I suffered a lot, and I got older, I was always asking God, why? Well, today she works with kids underage, obviously they're children. She works with children who have been sexually abused. And she says, I now understand that God allowed this to happen in my life so I could be a strength for some of those who may not have that strength. And
Yeah.
just want to thank you so much, bro. I didn't know about your father in detail. I know he had passed away, but I didn't know all that. But sorry for your loss. And is
No.
your mother still around?
Yeah. So my mom lives in California. She lives on her own, and my family's right there in Fresno,
Cool.
so it's just convenient for her.
Perfect.
But yeah, she's doing well.
Well, thank you so much, and wishing you and the
Thanks.
family the best, man.
Thanks, bro. It's a joy, and thanks again for thinking about me. And hopefully we can do this again.
Facts, facts.